The movie begins with a quick background. About 30 years ago, an alien baby was sent to Earth. A kind farming couple in Kansas found him and raised him as their own. Years later, that same baby revealed himself to the world as Superman, the strongest metahuman ever. Now, 27 years after his arrival, Superman has become a global hero. Recently, he stopped the country of Boravia from attacking Jarhanpur. But today, something unexpected happened. A metahuman named Hammer of Boravia attacks Superman right in Metropolis. For the first time ever, Superman is defeated and crashes near his home in Antarctica, injured and unable to move. Struggling, Superman calls for Krypto, his sister's dog. Krypto rushes over thinking it's playtime, but soon realizes something's wrong. He gently drags Superman back home. Once there, Superman's robots, the automatons, begin scanning him, while a final message from his biological parents plays in the background. One of the robots can't understand the Kryptonian language, so another explains part of the message, but the rest is missing. The scan shows Superman has broken bones and serious internal injuries. The robots quickly treat him with a strong dose of yellow sunlight, which heals him completely. As Superman recovers, he sees the house in a mess, clearly Krypto's doing. He asks the robots why they didn't stop him, and they reply that Krypto was too wild to control. Now, fully healed, Superman leaves to fight the Hammer of Boravia once again. Meanwhile, in Metropolis, the Hammer, whose real name is Ultraman, is destroying parts of the city under orders from Lex Luthor. Luthor and his team see Superman coming and send Ultraman instructions based on Superman's fighting style. Luthor had studied Superman for years and planned each move through drones and AI. With Luthor guiding him, Ultraman defeats Superman again and escapes through a special wormhole back to Luthor Corp, where he's celebrated like a hero. At the same time, a kind man named Malak tries to help Superman, but the people around blame him for the problems in Jarhanpur. Meanwhile, the Engineer, a woman enhanced with nanotech, finds Superman's secret base and tells Lex Luthor its location. Later, Clark Kent, Superman's human identity, returns to work. His parents call to congratulate him on a front-page article, but they also talk about how Ultraman beat Superman. On the news, Boravia's president blames Superman for damaging relations with the U.S. At the Pentagon, Lex Luthor pitches his new team, Planet Watch, a group of powerful beings including Ultraman, the Engineer, and a high-tech army to fight off alien threats. One official raises a concern. Luthor's company is selling weapons to Boravia, and a war would benefit him financially. Luthor argues that Superman is interfering with international politics and has a secret base in Antarctica, which breaks the law. The official agrees to support Luthor only if he proves Superman is under his control. Later that night, Clark surprises his girlfriend Lois Lane by cooking her favorite meal. They have a romantic evening, and then Lois warns him that pretending to interview himself might eventually expose his identity. Clark agrees to a real interview. During the interview, Lois asks tough questions about his interference in wars and whether he got permission from world leaders. Clark says he only warned the Boravian president, which didn't break any law. When Lois brings up what people online are saying, Clark gets upset and leaves. She tells him he always walks away from hard conversations, but he leaves anyway. Meanwhile, in Antarctica, Lex Luthor and his team break into Superman's base. Ultraman and the Engineer destroy all the robots. Krypto tries to defend the base, but is knocked out. Luthor tells the Engineer to hack the Kryptonian tech, and she does, revealing the missing part of the message from Superman's parents. Back in the city, a giant monster is sent to cause chaos as a distraction. Superman saves civilians and plans to study the monster instead of killing it. The Justice Gang arrives to help, but Mr. Terrific insists they must destroy it. He kills it using his advanced spheres. Just after this, shocking news hits the media. Superman's parents' message is aired, and it claims Superman was sent to rule Earth without mercy. The public turns on him. Green Lantern even warns Superman, but Hawkgirl questions the message's origin. Superman quickly flies back to his base. At the same time, Lois calls a congressman who agrees to detain Superman. Meanwhile, Boravia's president announces war and disappears into a wormhole, meeting Lex Luthor in a hidden pocket dimension. Superman returns to his base only to find his robots destroyed and Krypto gone. He rushes to Luthor Corp demanding answers, but Luthor denies taking the dog. That night, Superman visits Lois and tells her he never heard the full message. Lois believes him, but says they need to break up. It's too dangerous. As he leaves, Superman says he'll surrender himself if it means he can find Krypto. The next day, Superman turns himself in. He's taken to Planet Watch's facility, where Ultraman throws him into the portal that leads to the Pocket Universe. There, Element Man, a being who can turn into any element including kryptonite, weakens Superman instantly. Back in the real world, Lois and Jimmy Olsen watch the news. Borevia is preparing for war. Lois says Borevia only paid $1 billion for weapons, but they don't know where the rest of the money went. Jimmy reaches out to Lex Luthor's girlfriend, who secretly tells him Superman is being held in a pocket dimension. Jimmy shares this with Lois, but doesn't reveal who gave him the info. Realizing what they need to do, Lois comes up with a plan. At the same time, Luthor's girlfriend agrees to meet Jimmy, setting the stage for the next move. At the same time, inside the Pocket Universe, Lex Luthor appears in front of Superman and reveals a terrible truth. He has Krypto. Luthor tells him the dog is being kept locked up, tested on, and will eventually be put down. But before that, Krypto will be made to suffer. Luthor also says that Superman will never escape this place, because it's Luthor's own secret prison. He even admits that if it were up to him, Superman would already be dead. But the world governments want to question him first. Meanwhile, Jimmy meets with Eve, who is Luthor's girlfriend, but secretly helping Jimmy. He asks her what Luthor is planning. Eve says she's not sure, but promises to find out more, only if Jimmy agrees to go on a date with her. Before leaving, Eve quietly admits something horrible. Luthor tortured a dog yesterday and hasn't stopped yet, because he's too busy bragging about how he keeps all his ex-girlfriends locked up in his private prison. Back in the Pocket Universe, Superman is weak and in pain. He tries to talk to Rex, the other prisoner. He says if Rex just gets rid of the kryptonite, he can help rescue Rex's son, a small shapeshifter. But Rex gets angry, and instead of helping, pushes the kryptonite even closer to Superman, making him suffer more. At the same time, Lois meets with the Justice Gang. She wants to find and rescue Superman. Mr. Terrific tells them he had secretly placed nanotrackers in Superman's body earlier, and has tracked him to an old military base. Even though the signal disappears there, he's sure Superman is trapped in a pocket universe. But Green Lantern and Hot Girl refuse to help. They don't want to get involved. Lois gets angry and mocks Green Lantern's haircut before walking away. Mr. Terrific follows her and says he's joining the mission just to annoy Green Lantern. Meanwhile, Luthor and Vasile bring in Malik Ali, a kind man who once helped Superman when he was injured. They plan to use Malik to force Superman to talk. Superman begs Luthor not to hurt him, but when they ask Superman if anyone helped him, he says no. He worked alone. They don't believe him. Then without warning, they shoot Malik in the head right in front of him. Later, Mr. Terrific and Lois arrive at the secret base. Mr. Terrific senses Superman nearby and quickly fights off the guards while protecting Lois with an energy shield. After clearing the way, they reach a tent that holds the portal to the Pocket Universe. Mr. Terrific warns Lois that opening a pocket universe is risky. It could create a black hole and tear space apart every time someone enters or leaves. He also jokes that he's only helping to annoy Green Lantern. Then, he starts working on cracking the portal code. Back in the pocket universe, Rex feels guilty about not saving Malik. He finally gathers the courage to ask Superman if he can help save his son. Superman nods, so Rex removes the kryptonite, letting Superman begin to recover. As Superman starts to feel a bit better, Rex notices he still looks weak. Superman explains it's because he hasn't had any sunlight. He says his powers come from Earth's yellow sun, and without it, he stays weak. Finally, Mr. Terrific and Lois manage to open the portal and step inside the Pocket Universe. But right in front of them is a deadly river of anti-Roten. If they try to cross it, they'll be vaporized instantly and won't be able to reach Superman. Back in the prison cell, Rex tells Superman that while he can't create a real sun, he can try to make something close using chemicals from his own body. He begins mixing them, hoping to help Superman get his strength back. After Rex finishes mixing the special light formula, it bursts into a bright flash. The light helps Superman slowly regain his strength. Once he's back on his feet, he immediately flies to the cell where Rex's baby is held and breaks the door open, reuniting father and son. Rex then asks Superman to carry his son since he can't hold the baby while shifting his shape. They begin to look for Krypto, but just as they try to escape, they're ambushed and pushed toward the dangerous river of Anti-Rotan. Suddenly, Krypto jumps in to help. As Superman starts getting pulled toward a black hole, he calls out to Krypto. Rex also jumps in to help. Together, with Rex's help and Superman's super breath, they manage to escape safely. Mr. Terrific finds them just in time and helps everyone escape the Pocket Universe. The portal slams shut right behind them. After escaping, Superman reunites with Lois. Even though he's still weak, he tells her there are more people who need saving. Mr. Terrific offers him his ship so Superman can travel safely. Meanwhile, Eve contacts Jimmy and says she has proof to bring Luthor down. But before giving it to him, she makes Jimmy promise to go on a date with her on Saturday. Just as she's about to send the files, Luthor shows up and grabs her. She manages to send some files, but all that comes through are selfies of herself. Later, Lois visits Clark's parents with Superman. Soon after, Jimmy messages Lois and shows her the selfies. Surprisingly, hidden in the background of those photos are secret data files from Luthor's lab. These files turn out to be very important. At the same time, Luthor is trying to reopen the portal to the Pocket Universe, even though it could tear open a dangerous crack in space. But Luthor doesn't care. He activates it anyway, causing a massive fissure, proving that creating pocket universes is never a good idea. The next day, Superman talks with his dad. Jonathan Kent tells him that Lois is a great person and that he's proud of how Clark has changed. Superman admits he feels guilty because his real parents sent him to Earth to destroy it. But Jonathan reminds him that parents don't decide who their kids become. Choices and actions do. He hugs Clark and tells him he's proud of the man he is. Meanwhile, Green Lantern watches news about the war in Bavia. Superman sees it too and learns that children are begging for his help. He's ready to fly out, but Mr. Terrific stops him. He says the fissure must come first. It could destroy the entire Earth if left open. Later, Jimmy and Lois report back to Perry, the head of their news team. They reveal that Luthor is behind everything, starting the war just to take over half of Jaranpur and crown himself king. They also say he's working with Moravia's president Vassal, who created the fissure to distract Superman. Mr. Terrific and the team at Luthor Corp can't stop the fissure because Luthor refuses to give the shutdown code, so they fly the ship out of the building. Mr. Terrific explains the shutdown code is stored inside Luthor Corp, but before Superman can go get it, he needs to find Krypto, who's been let out for a walk so he doesn't scare the cows at Clark's family farm. Suddenly, Ultraman appears and drags Superman to a football stadium. There, they're joined by Angela, another metahuman. Luthor watches and orders Angela to fill Superman's lungs with air, which puts him in serious pain. Just as Superman nears death, Vassal is sent to launch the war. Superman's body is filled with nanites. Luthor tells Angela to inject the rest. Superman flies up high, past the Earth's atmosphere. Then he drops back down at incredible speed. The fall is so intense that Angela might not survive. But when they crash, Superman lives and forces the nanites out of his body. Then Luthor sends raptor-like creatures after them. Angela somehow survives the fall, though she's barely alive. Ultraman survives too. His mask falls off, and Superman realizes the truth. Ultraman is his clone. Luthor created him using a single hair he found in the wreckage of one of Superman's battles. That's how Ultraman was able to get into Superman's Fortress of Solitude. He shares the same DNA, but the clone isn't perfect. He's more powerful but clumsy and easier to control. Luthor orders Ultraman to finish Superman off to prove that brains beat strength. Meanwhile, in Bavia, a little boy prays for Superman to save them from the war. Superman, though beaten down, tells Luthor that he won't win. His plans will fail because Superman has called in backup. Right then, the Justice Gang swoops in to stop the war along with Rex and his baby. Perry tells the team they're finally ready to publish the full truth. Jimmy and Lois now know everything. How Luthor started the war just to kill Superman. Luthor wants him gone because he's jealous, even though he says Superman is the real threat. Even while being attacked, Superman smiles and says mind is stronger than muscles. He calls out to Krypto. Once free from the clone, Superman sends Krypto to collect the spheres, which are actually Luthor's hidden cameras. At that moment, the Raptors return. Superman gets ready to fight them. After defeating the Raptors, the clone attacks again. But this time, Superman hits back harder, sending him straight into the black hole. Then, Superman and Mr. Terrific head to Luthor Corp to finally close the fissure and stop the disaster. Superman stands tall and tells everyone that even though he's not from Earth, he's just as human as anyone else. He says he knows how to love, and he feels fear too. Every day he wakes up, puts one foot in front of the other, and tries to do what's right, even when he makes mistakes. That, he says, is what being human is all about. He hopes that one day Lex Luthor will understand this, but Luthor just laughs and says he doesn't care. The governments have already given him permission to kill Superman. Just then, Krypto jumps in and starts attacking Luthor, giving him the beating he deserves. Meanwhile, Lois and the team are watching everything unfold. They see that the dangerous fissure has finally been closed, thanks to Mr. Terrific, who figured out the shutdown code. The truth about Luthor is finally exposed on the news, how he worked secretly with Vassal and the government of Bavia. Now, the whole world knows Luthor is a traitor. People everywhere realize they were wrong about Superman. They had turned against him, but now they see he was always the true hero. Superman is, and always will be, the symbol of hope. With Luthor defeated, the war is stopped. People celebrate around the world. Rex officially joins the Justice Gang for his help in saving Earth. Luthor is arrested, and all the people he had locked up, including his ex-girlfriends, are freed. Later, Eve meets up with Jimmy. After everything, Superman returns to the Fortress of Solitude. The robots there have repaired all the damage and even fixed themselves. He decides to finally give robot number 4 a proper name. He calls him Gary. Soon, Supergirl shows up. She's actually Krypto's original owner and has been partying across different planets. Since Kryptonians can't get drunk under yellow suns, she prefers to visit worlds with red suns instead, just to have fun. Now, with peace restored, Superman sits back and relaxes. He watches an old message from his human parents and thinks about all the memories he's made. For the first time in a long while, he feels truly happy. And that's how this story ends.